Thank you.
Old school throwback.
And we're back for another rousing day of Shacknews awards, deliberations, nominations, and celebrations of games. We're starting off with the best old school throwback category. These are games that aren't necessarily remakes or, retreads or anything, but they harken back to the old times of, 8-bit games or arcade games or whatever. I think last year we gave this award to Streets of Rage 4 to give people a frame of reference of what we're kind of looking for in this category. And with that, I will kick it off. Anyone want to nominate a game for this?
Oh, I'm throwing Pac-Man 99 up in this piece.
I'm shocked.
I know. Everyone's completely flabbergasted right now. The internet is being broken as we speak. But yeah, Pac-Man 99, come on. I mean, come on. We already talked a little bit about this, but I mean, it totally took two games that you would never really think about putting together, like the classic Pac-Man game with the battle royale mechanisms, and it totally worked. Like they're both, and I said this yesterday, both games are about survival, so it just paired so well. It revitalizes Pac-Man in a way I didn't think was possible. It's so much fun to play, and it keeps the competitive nature alive. Like Pac-Man used to be about getting the high score. Now Pac-Man is about being number one, like just living.
Called Pac-1 when you win.
Yeah, being the ultimate Pac-Man.
It doesn't lose that classic Pac-Man feel. It modernizes the gameplay, but it doesn't abandon what makes Pac-Man Pac-Man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's a solid nomination. I mean, you can't get much more old school than the Pac-Man franchise.
Just as far as like talk about like iconic game franchises, like Pac-Man is up there with Mario and Sonic and all those other, like Crash Bandicoot. He's bigger than Bandicoot, baby.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I mean, there was Pac-Man Fever, there was Pac-Mania. Back before Donovan was even a sperm cell, Pac-Man really did rule the world, and it's nice to see Pac-Man like back in a very, very good package. I love these 99 games. I think they're some of the best things that Nintendo has done with Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, and talk about like My Time to Shine too. Like that game, it was just made for me.
You have not won it yet.
I will never ever win Pac-Man, and that's one of the things I love about.
No, I'm talking about Pac-Man 99.
Oh,
I know Bill has won it. I know Bill has been a Pac-1 before.
Multiple
times. I'm like lucky if I break into the top 30, honestly.
I have landed second place in that game so many times.
How frustrating is that?
It actually is frustrating because it's kind of tough to tell if you've been knocked out versus one. It takes a second. When there's two left, you're like, the game just ends and you're like, but I won. Like it's actually, it's almost like lulling you into disappointment before celebration.
Tetris 99 has a similar feel, where you're like, oh god, it like stops and you're like, did I? And then you're like, no, I won. Same thing with Mario, honestly. The end game in the Mario 35 game, it was probably the longest of all these 99s. I know it wasn't necessarily
because if you get two Mario experts, then neither one dies.
They just go back to back, and like
especially because they keep putting people back in 1-1.
Yeah, that was the other. That was the meta, right? Like when you could choose 1-1, you choose 1-1, right? And then or 1.
Or if you were looking for real garbage to throw in people's games, you would look for like exotic enemies like Hammer Brothers or Bullet Bills and like start to go into those levels.
But yeah, I want to say it was a Games Done Quick. They did a Mario 35.
Yeah,
race.
They did it right before it went down.
Yeah, that was something else to watch. Like high level play in all of these Nintendo Switch Online apps is really something to watch. No, solid nomination. I know we have some other nominations in this category, so let's get to it.
Well,
TJ, I think, or Ozzy, whoever else.
I think well, I think Pac-Man 99 is going to be the front runner, but there are a few that came really early in the year that I want to recognize. One is Cyber Shadow from Mecha Skull and Yacht Club Games, which Yacht Club had previously done Shovel Knight, which was like the big Mega Man throwback. This one from Mecha Skull is basically a Ninja Gaiden throwback from the NES days. And there are Metroidvania elements in it where there's a lot of backtracking where you can find stuff that you might have missed. But these are like basically a lot of linear levels, really, really challenging platforming stuff, like enemies up the ass, like huge bosses. It scratches an old school itch in the sense that it does go with a lot of those 8-bit style presentation, but also it's really hard as hell. And speaking of hard as hell, that brings me to the second one that I want to talk about, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. Like that game, I mean, I never thought we'd see another Ghosts and Goblins again. And not only did Capcom bring it back, they brought it back both in the way that people remember it and also with a really cool new art style. Like the storybook art style was really cool. And I think we might talk about it again for best art style, but like, I really like what Capcom did with Ghosts and Goblins. And they even brought back like the end game thing where it's like, well, good job getting to the end of the game. Now go back to the start and do it again.
Yep.
And that's something that like generations of like players don't remember, like, because they never experienced that. Basically, once you hit the end, you either hit the end game or there's like something else you got to do, whatever. Nothing ever really said, okay, you got to the end of the game. Now you have to do the whole thing over again in order to actually reach the real ending. And that's something that this game not only brought back, but also it did offer new difficulty levels, which I appreciate because it's added to that whole should Dark Souls have difficulty settings, discourse, and everything. And Ghosts and Goblins is like, well, we were kind of Dark Souls before Dark Souls, and we're gonna throw in an easy mode. So why can't anybody else do it?
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, but I also like that they made it so if you're an old school player of the series, you can still experience that face ripping off that the game did.
It rips your face off.
It really did, man. Like I was so bad at that game, but I loved the music and I loved playing it. Obviously we were kids when that was out, but those are good nominations, Ozzy.
That soundtrack is like the happiest, most charming soundtrack, while it's just freaking killing you at every turn.
Yeah. TJ, I think you also had a nomination.
Mighty Goose.
Mighty Goose. Tell us about Mighty Goose.
Mighty Goose is a Metal Slug like. It's a side-scrolling Metal Slug run-and-gun shooter made by Blast Mode. It is so freaking good. They really captured that whole, like, not only like that action of like just grabbing a machine. When you get a machine gun, it announces you got the machine gun, and then you just pelt everything in front of you with a hail of bullets. The soundtrack is stellar. There's a dedicated honk button in the game, which you have to have that. You are a bounty hunting goose, hunting down a galaxy full of baddies. And boy, howdy, I was waiting on this game for so long, like when it was announced. And when it finally came out, it was everything I wanted it to be. I love Pac-Man 99. I love Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. I threw so many quarters at Metal Slug when I was little, and I cannot believe how good this game is at capturing that feeling. You even have like vehicles in the game that you'll get like a motorbike that you just drive through enemies, hitting them with like even heavier machine guns, rockets, and if you lose that vehicle, it can really hamper you later in the level. But it's a really, really stellar the way they designed that game. It's probably one of my favorite retro styled indies of the whole year, let alone like in a while, I think.
Nice. Okay. Does anyone else have a nomination? Nope. Well, I think we should get to voting. We have some votes penciled in from the folks that were unable to make it here today. I think Sam did vote, and David did vote. I'll save those for once we're tallying up everything. So let's get started. Denny, you want to kick us off with a vote here?
Sure. Actually, I'm gonna go with TJ on Mighty Goose. I got a chance to play it on Switch, and it's short but sweet. You know, I had a good time with it, and it brought me back to those Metal Slug days a bit more. I tried Ghost of Goblins as well, but I always suck at those games. They're always harder for me. So like Mighty Goose was a nice, smooth kind of playthrough. Wasn't too hard, but also wasn't too easy for me either. So that's my choice.
Nice. Donovan, what you got?
I'll vote for Pac-Man 99. I've always liked the Pac-Man games, so
Yep.
I'll throw my head at that one.
Greg. what
Yeah,
you got?
Pac-Man 99. Yeah.
Okay. TJ, I'm guessing Mighty Goose.
Mighty Goose.
Okay. Ozzy.
I'm going to stay with Ghosts and Goblins just because of the kid in me says I should totally vote for that. And also, it's always Capcom is sitting on so many licenses that they're not using. So when they bring something out like this and knock it out of the park, like I really want to recognize them for that. So
Yeah, that's a fair point. And outside of Nintendo, I would agree with you. Capcom and Konami are sitting on a lot of IP right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bill,
I just want rival schools back, please, one day.
I don't want to betray Pac-Man 2 days in a row and jinx myself from any more Pac-1, so I got to go with Pac-Man 99.
That's fair. Blake, you nominated Pac-Man. You're voting for Pac-Man.
Of course I'm voting for Pac-Man.
Chris, you got an opinion here?
I think I'll go with Mighty Goose.
Mighty Goose. You know, these are. I guess I have to vote. These are all good. Yeah, I'm impressed by the differences in the genres that we nominated here. You know, there's like a multiplayer online game. There's that shoot 'em up style. There's like a Ninja Gaiden like basically, and kind of a Metroidvania. And then there's just Ghosts and Goblins, which is like, I don't even want to call that a genre. Like that's just Ghosts and Goblins there. Which really did, to Ozzy's point, it set off that whole hard game thing. That and Battletoads back in the day were like two of the hardest.
one remake was better than the other.
I didn't want to throw shade at that new Battletoads, but it seems like Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection did a better job of resurrecting that franchise than the Battletoads game did. I'm gonna vote for Mighty Goose because I know my vote doesn't matter, and I suck, like categorically suck at Pac-Man 99. I'm not good at it.
I can show you the way.
I don't know, man. This is something you've seen me. You remember when we were at Bandai Namco in Japan?
Yeah.
And they had that big ass free Pac-Man cabinet in their lobby. You saw me. I'm very bad at Pac-Man games. But David did vote for Pac-Man 99, and so did Sam. So that's 6-4 to 1. Pac-Man 99 will win. I just wanted to show some love to that Mighty Goose game because I agree, TJ. That was like. And to Denny's point, like I loved how small it was. I loved that I could just pick it up and play it, and I love that style of game.
Mm-hmm.
I would love more games like that. Would be very appreciated.
When you get like the big hits in the game, like enemies exploding, it just like does a slow-mo, and the goose just pops in and honks.
Yeah,
and it's just everything about that game is so aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, there's a honk button, which I appreciate. It's awesome.
But yeah, congratulations to all those games deserve praise for shipping this year and surprising and delighting their fans. Even with Yacht Club, like Yacht Club has made some awesome old school throwbacks. I mean, Shovel Knight is a god tier game. But it is Pac-Man 99's day to shine here at the Shacknews Awards. Congratulations to Pac-Man 99 and Nintendo and Namco Bandai or Bandai Namco, whatever you're calling them these days. You are our best old school throwback of the year 2021 at Shacknews.
Compete against the Pac in the online Battle Royale game, Pac-Man 99. This game is available as a special offer for Nintendo Switch Online members. To win, you'll need to be the last Pac-Man standing.